This is so awesome. This is like a weird little inception moment for us, Christina. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
This is a dream.
This is really fun.
If you want to talk fitness, we've got an expert here. If you want to talk, podcasts and gear, we know enough to be dangerous and can steer you in the right place. But Christina, how long did this is a new vibe that you've got going on. You've got the lights kind of going on in the back. Have you done that for previous streams, or did you just bust that out for us?
I feel like I don't really get any opportunity to use them, to be honest with you, because I'm always in the gym. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought it'd be nice to kind of break them out and, add something a little bit different, make it a little bit more interesting, a little more colorful.
Yeah.
And I think
awesome.
I think we've also seen sometimes you have like you're in the kitchen, like when you were baking cookies, but you weren't like eating the cookies.
Yes, yes, I'm famous for that.
So Christina, let's we want to learn a little bit more about Christina since we've got you here. Tell us, what made you become an Amazon creator? I mean, I know you focus on fitness, but you've also got some new things coming down the pike. You've got a whole new channel that you're getting ready to launch, which I actually think is very exciting. Really looking forward to see what you and your team will be doing with that, which I think is just going to be so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just Amazon is just another really, really good platform. Very good. There's a lot of positivity, which is what I realized just from the very beginning. But it's just a great way to reach out to even more people with, just like things about health, things about fitness, nutrition, all of that stuff. So, I literally found out about Amazon Live, I would say about a couple weeks before I even started, or I even created a channel. So I didn't even know, like prior to January, I knew nothing about Amazon Live. So I'm still kind of like new to this.
It's awesome. I think everyone's new to this. It hasn't really been around that long. And the more that we talk to other people, it's like, we'll say, oh yeah, we go live, on Amazon. They're like, well, wait, what? That's a thing. And then you have to go through that whole thing of explaining how you go and how you find it, which is why we got the redirect, to go to, your .live so they can at least have, we could just say that or just make it easy and memorable. But that'll sort itself out eventually. I mean, there's, other platforms like YouTube that took a while for them to sort things out when things were first starting. But I feel like, you're leaning in, you're already launching other channels. So you're seeing the benefit of it. You're like, hey, this could be something massive. And, it might not. I mean, Amazon may snap their fingers and go, we're not doing this anymore tomorrow. Yeah. Who knows? But right now, we're seeing the benefit of it. I'm sure you're seeing the benefit of Amazon Live as well. Has it helped you in your in the business that you do for training and everything else? Has the Amazon Live thing gotten you more notoriety, SEO, or like how has that helped you?
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually got clients out of Amazon Live. Wow. So I'm training a couple clients that found me on Amazon Live. And then another cool thing that happened too is that since I've been on Amazon Live, I've had like even more followers like on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff too. So it's kind of like this trickling down effect, and it like affected everything, which is pretty amazing.
And I've watched your streams. You don't like actively say, follow me on Instagram, follow me on, you're doing your thing, you're doing sort of like when you're on Amazon, it's kind of a different thing. And then I've seen you do stuff on Instagram that's more Instagram focused because you have to not necessarily follow the rules, but it's a different platform. You're like you're in the big mall, right?
Yeah.
Doing that thing. And people see the value of like, oh, you know what? If I tune in to her, I can actually work out and get a free workout. And so you start getting those followers that way organically, because you're not really just throwing it out there like follow me on Instagram. You probably are when you have that opportunity, but we can't always do that as Amazon Live influencers. I think you've found a really great way of doing that organically and people just being able to follow you.
Yeah, I try to make it easy because like literally everything is the same on all platforms. So if they want to find me, they could just type in my name and it'll take them to like YouTube, to Instagram and, Facebook, whatever. So it's a lot easier that way versus like having different names. It's going to be more challenging with this new channel, but we'll figure it out.
I think it's really cool though. I mean, and I think this is fun because we've talked about this before, this whole idea of creators collaborating. And so what's amazing is if you're watching, you might be watching on Christina's channel. Well, you can also watch over on Dealcasters. You're seeing the same show, but you're getting a wider selection of items that you might want us to talk about.
So I always ask other Amazon Live influencers this because, we have our sort of niche, right? You have, fitness and health, but you also have these other shows and you do things as it relates to cooking. And so your lane is probably wider than ours if we're being honest. And Jim and my lane is obviously, more tech and more live streaming and podcasting and things like that. But I always find it interesting to ask other Amazon Live influencers because I know you look at your stuff, you look at your data, you look and say, okay, how much did I make today? How much did I make on these particular streams? But I always like to go back and look at the items and see what we've sold and then ask an Amazon Live influencer, what's the most kind of weird, maybe random thing or things quantitatively that maybe you've sold from just being live on Amazon, even though you've never maybe even talked about it.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because, so Mr. Moderator is like head of that department. Every single morning, he goes on the internet and he goes to my page and he looks at all the stuff that everybody bought. And I think one of the weirdest things that, it probably wouldn't seem weird to a lot of people, but to me it was, but somebody like bought a large amount of baby wipes. And I'm like, I don't even have, that's not even, but I noticed that they stay on your page and they shop, you get credit for it, which is really cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. For 24 hours, it doesn't, somebody goes and maybe they're watching the show right now, but you just, what? I need baby wipes.
Yeah. You just remind me.
Exactly. Or I need a tire. So yes, that's our most random item. Somebody actually bought just one tire for their vehicle.
Tire. Interesting.
They watched us and they said, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to launch my podcast, but first I need a tire.
Right.
Right. So,
so you guys mentioned that you had your window of, I guess, not reach, but just you're talking about tech and stuff like that. But the thing is that every single person, every single influencer out there, everybody in general, no matter what topic they're discussing, they all need tech stuff. So really you're reaching out to everybody without having to pick a certain category, if you will.
Yeah.
That's pretty
genius. I think, that's what we had done. That's the weird thing about this show, Christina, is that when Jim and I, Jim called me and he's like, I got approved for Amazon Live. And he and I had spoken for months about doing something. We didn't know if it was going to be a podcast, it was going to be a live show, but we wanted to work together and figure out something. But we had always in our businesses, my business being Cast Ahead and Jim's being Fusion Marketing, really working with people to get past that tech stuff and say, stop worrying about this and this microphone and, just worry about mic technique and then get a cheap microphone and then use that extra money to get this because you're going to need a better camera than you've got because your laptop camera is a piece of crap. And so you need to at least spend, we were doing that already and getting paid for consulting all of that stuff. And so the Dealcasters is really just what we've always been doing, is helping people with live shows. And it didn't matter if they were, some, amazing YouTuber or if they were someone that, was, who knows what, sanitation engineer or whatever that had a live show that needed something for their presentation. So you're right. If that in and of itself is kind of like a wide variance, but, we can't, get on and talk about dumbbells. You know, we can't get on and talk about, that Jim's Jim's going to start working.
I mean,
again.
you could see Jim. You got to take your shirt off for it to matter.
Shirt. I showed him.
Got to take his off first.
Oh, we've got some surprises.
You can talk about dumbbells. You just have to do it shirtless.
Oh, I just feel like Utechpia owns that market, though. You know,
it really does own the shirtless market. I mean, you can't. How do you? That's been done. You know, you're gonna have to do it in a wetsuit or something,
right? Hey, okay, I'm waiting.
A wetsuit.
Going shirtless it's all about the confidence. It really is. If you are confidently shirtless, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a 6-pack or you've got a pony keg. As far as your
exactly, just own it, right?
Confidently own that pony keg,
right?
And you're good.
So Christina, what have you always been in the fitness field, or is it something that you got into at some point in time?
Yeah. So no, it's actually somebody asked me that, I believe it was yesterday on my live. And I wasn't like an athlete or anything in high school. I didn't participate in any sports. In fact, my favorite subject was like art and music. So yeah, actually I didn't really even start like dabbling into lifting until about like 19 when I graduated. So like a year after I graduated, probably like 1996. So yeah. And then I just kind of started getting into it. And then when we moved to Texas in 2014, that's when I really I was using weightlifting as like a means to deal with like a really stressful job. And so I just became really passionate about it and just decided that this was like my thing. This is something that I absolutely love that I could stick with. So.
I read an article where you said that in high school you were bullied, and that
yes.
Kind of like moved you into like focusing on your fitness, and that kind of helped you with that mindset.
Yes. I was bullied so I grew up in New York, and I was actually bullied in New York, and then even a little bit when I moved to Virginia. And so I just had like this negative mindset. And so when I started, getting into the gym, I started basically just kind of researching just a bunch of things on like nutrition and like exercise and stuff like that. I eventually got like my certification in nutrition and also personal training, but I didn't like train for a while. Like I just used it as like a means to learn more. And I just found that it was just really positive. My whole mindset changed on just life in general. And I was like, wow, I want to teach other people this really, really good feeling. And so it kind of all stemmed from there.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's awesome. I think 1996, I was probably running 6 miles a day and was actually going to the gym. But I can't say that I'm doing the going to the gym part now, but I'm thinking about it, because people like you inspire me. I did walk 5 miles today.
That's good.
I do that almost every day.
Yeah.
I've run a couple marathons. Chris is like the marathon man. I think he's running them all the time now.
No, I haven't done one in 2 years. So,
yeah, it's painful
now. Yeah, well, yeah. If you do the training, this is the thing, and maybe Christina, you could sort of, I guess, chime on this. Is like Jim, I loved to run, and so I would just get out and I would just run. I didn't know what I was doing. I just ran because it felt good, and it felt good after I did it, and then it allowed me to consume whatever I consumed because I wasn't I wasn't really following much nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a relative who is doing Ironman triathlons, and he was following my training on Strava, and he's like, Chris, you need to be doing races. You need to be doing marathons and half marathons. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I could never do that, because I would go out and I'd run for 6 miles and I come back, and he said this to me, and it really is what it changed, everything for me. He said, Chris, all you have to do is the training. And when you do the training, the race is just the race. It's just you just all you got to do is just follow the training. And I was like, that makes sense to me. So it put everything in a box for me, and I said, okay, I'm gonna follow a training plan. And sure enough, he was absolutely right. I eventually could run 26 miles because I had done the training leading up to that. So I think a lot of people don't realize when they want to follow a fitness regimen, or they want to just maybe lose some weight, or just, completely change their lifestyle so they can live, healthier and happier. Like, you don't have to start running 6 miles. You don't have to start running a mile. You just have to start and just go. And then the next day get 1%, and next day 1%. And you don't have to run a marathon, but you're going to get there if you keep and just do the training.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Just step by step.
Well, but I think another big part, and this is something that surprised me. So I ran the Marine Corps Marathon in 2006. And what I ended up finding out soon after that, I actually had elevated blood pressure and ended up on blood pressure medication. Well, and I'm like, well, how did that happen? Because I worked out all the time. And a few years ago, I changed my nutrition, cut sugar, and, I haven't drank soda in like probably 5-6 years. And by changing how I eat, I was able to get off blood pressure medication. And so I think sometimes that's the fallacy too. And because Chris, you kind of hit on it, that just because you're out there running, it can mask some of those, or exercise can sometimes mask some of those nutrition issues that we have. I mean, what do you think about that, Christina?
Yeah, I mean, and I always tell people this, like, you hear a lot of the times that people will say that, like training or diet, is like 70%. I really consider diet more like 90%, because you cannot out-train a bad diet. Like, right. You could look, they have this term like skinny fat, where you could look really good on the outside, and like on the inside, you are just, you're unhealthy, you haven't built up enough muscle, and you just like, your organs are just not performing well, but you look good on the outside. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like, diet definitely matters. And I consider it more like that 90% for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I think it's like, if you consider this, I think like, and I haven't had McDonald's in years. Mm-hmm. If you get like the Big Mac supersized fries, if they still use that term, and a Coke, that's like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
And that 1-2 hour workout you just did, you just wiped it out with that one Big Mac meal. I mean, it's crazy. And so people don't think about that. I couldn't agree with you more, Christina. I mean, that definitely nutrition. I mean, I lost 20 pounds by just changing how I eat. I didn't exercise at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned sugar. Like, sugar is a huge, it's one of the things that can cause major inflammation. And we know that like inflammation causes things like, cancer, diseases, all of that stuff. So, it's just, and there's sugar in like everything now, even like the low fat stuff. It's like sugar. They just replace everything with sugar, do you remember those cookies back a while? They were like, I forgot what they're called.
Sugar
I don't
cookies.
know. No.
I'm sorry, are you talking about cookies, Christina? For a second, you were talking about cookies. Because if you're talking about cookies, can we talk about cookies?
We can talk about cookies. Let's talk about cookies. I knew this was going to happen. I'm prepared.
All right, so let's backstory. Dealcasters After Dark, a month ago, 6 weeks ago, Christina jumps on. We're having fun. Everybody's, talking about, whatever. I don't know. I guess Utopia got dinged because he was taking his shirt off I mean, he's
that's
always
right.
got his shirt
he was
off,
doing product videos, and they took all of his
and so in homage, in honor of Utopia, our brother, Jim said, he was going to take, I mean, I don't know how it got there. I went back and watched it. I think I had more to do with it, Jim. I apologize. than anyone. But Christina was in the chat and she was like, oh my, like you were just like, shirt, take your shirt off. You got to do it. You got to do it. Jim, to your credit, just whipped that thing off and like exposed those pecs that were built in the Marine Corps years ago. And also, when he went to put the shirt back on, he put it on, it was inside out. So he had to pull it off again and, expose the pecs again, put it back on. And so that became Shirtless Jim, which has now become just, it's breaking the internet in terms of, meme traction. Not really. And so, we've obviously are fans of Christina's show and, her workout show, but she also does the show where she's in the kitchen and she's cooking and she's got her friends and I think relatives and other people that are doing trivia while you're cooking. And it's really like a great show. And I'm always hungry after watching it. And so I know you being a super big health, expert and fitness expert, I'm looking at what's in front of you and I'm like, whoa, those look like, I don't know about you, but those look like cookies with a lot of calories to me. And so I put it out there. I was like, Christina, are you going to eat one of these cookies? And you were just like, boy, you shut that down. You were just like, no, I'm not going to eat it. And I was like, whoa, okay. Well, I mean, it seems to me like you got Jim to take his shirt off, right? Least you could do is eat a cookie on your live stream, right? And I was like, you know what? If you eat that cookie, we will send you a Dealcasters t-shirt. I mean, like that's eat a cookie. That's like a double bonus. That's like eat a cookie, which is awesome, and get an awesome t-shirt. And you shut that down. You were like, I
can't do it.
I don't think there was even like 3 seconds, Christina, where you were just like, I think I'm going to do it. You were just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to eat the cookie. I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, are the cookies even that good? Or what?
I mean, maybe we should have said if she had mailed us some cookies, then we would have sent her a shirt.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a fair trade. Cookies for a shirt.
I do have to let you guys know something though.
Uh-oh. Big
so
fail.
I do have something set aside just because I had a strange feeling that this was going to come up. So.
Is that is it really a
jar?
No.
You see this? There you go.
Yeah. Ooh, is it a healthy cookie?
Oh no. No. It's like one of those Italian cookies. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's like an almond crust and then inside it's got like dark chocolate. And it's very crispy and very delicious and definitely high in calories.
Did you bake that cookie or did you buy it?
No, these cookies I bought.
Okay.
These are a little more tricky to make, but I actually bought these cookies.
Oh. So are you going to eat the cookie?
Well, I guess the next question is, but not just are you going to eat, are they available on Amazon so everyone else can buy them?
I bet they are. Crinkle cookies. I don't know. Like, what would you even call these? I don't even know. Should I eat this?
Yes. The answer.
If you eat the cookie, we'll the Dealcaster shirt thing is still
it's still on the table.
It's still on the table.
I'm gonna eat it while you guys are talking.
Right.
Well, we got one thing accomplished. We can't get Mr. Moderator on the screen, but we did get Christina needs you to eat a cookie on Dealcasters After Dark. That is pretty awesome. That's the first time we've seen Christina eat a cookie.
Oh, I mean, I'm usually always eating something, I guess, but not.
But it's probably like a fitness bar or celery or carrots, right? Something.
Celery.
Something. Now, do you like celery, or is celery like a non-starter?
Oh, I mean, celery's okay. It's just not very filling. Like I go for really, really dense. Like the way I eat, I'm very much like food for fuel, with the exception of my one cheat meal, which happened to be today, by the way. But no, like so
a cookie.
Yes. It worked out perfectly. But yeah, no, I go for like really filling stuff. So I eat a lot of vegetables, probably like 2 pounds or more of vegetables per day, because they're really filling. But I go for things like broccoli, green beans, cauliflower, stuff that's like bell peppers, potatoes, things that are really, really, really filling. I mean, yeah, I could eat celery, but I mean,
what is a Christina Nicci cheat meal? I'm interested. What would that be?
So normally today was pasta because I'm keeping it kind of like what's called a refeed for the next couple of weeks. So a refeed, the difference is a cheat meal basically has no rules. It's like a burger and fries or, pizza or whatever. A refeed meal is something with higher carbs, but a good amount of protein and still low fat. So like pasta with some marinara sauce and some meat, something like that. Yeah.
I wouldn't think pasta is cheating.
Well,
I guess it depends on the type of pasta, right? I mean, I've noticed that like you can actually get pasta made from quinoa. I believe there's some actually made with, there was some my wife and I really liked, but it seems like it disappeared. It was actually made from spinach.
Oh, I did with squash too, where it's kind of, it looks like pasta. You just have to pretend like it's like, the consistency is nowhere near it. You just like, most of the time you're just pretending. But one of the things, Christina, that I remember from watching one of your streams that you were talking about that you feel like is a kind of a misconception is, and a lot of people, and I don't think it's, I don't know, maybe not a misconception, but like eating after a certain time, before you go to bed, right? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people will, especially if, and you, the way you said this is like, listen, if you're exercising throughout the day, or you're exercising, you need to refuel your body. You need to, like, you break down the muscles, you break down, and you have to replace that. And if you don't, then you can hurt yourself. You can, you're not exactly doing the best thing that you can for your body. So if that means you're eating at 9 o'clock at night to do that, and then you go to bed not too long after that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people, especially like intermittent fasters and things like that, the timing of, when they eat and when they go to bed and that whole thing. But you have a different theory on that.
Yeah. So basically, okay, so there's a few different things. I'll talk about like the intermittent fasting in a second. So, your body, as far as in like the time that you stop eating, your body doesn't say, okay, well, I'm going to stop burning calories at 7 o'clock. Like you're still good. If you, the science is calories in, calories out. So it doesn't matter when you eat the calories. And I tell everybody this all the time. I go to bed pretty late. And I eat my last meal at like 11 o'clock at night in bed, by the way, watching TV.
Really?
So, yes. And so, so it has nothing to do. If you're over calories, you're going to gain weight. If you are consuming the same amount as you are burning, then you're basically at maintenance, right? But if you are burning less, if you're eating more, or I'm getting a little confused here. If you're eating less, then you'll lose weight, then you're burning. You know what I mean? If you're burning more and you're eating less, then you will lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. So in the morning time, like when a lot of people talk about, fasted cardio or fasted workouts, the reason why I don't agree with that is because when we go to bed, glycogen stores they're stored in two places. That's in your liver and your muscles. So overnight, when you go to sleep, the glycogen stores are actually mostly depleted in your liver. So when you wake up and you do your exercise and you haven't eaten anything, you're actually tapping into those muscle stores. So our goal should never be, even if you're not trying to build muscle, your goal should never be to lose muscle. And so when you're doing that, when you're not fueling your body, even with something like a protein or a carb, something, even something small, then you're tapping into those muscle stores. So that definitely matters. And then the whole thing with like intermittent fasting, there's no real long-term scientific benefits versus regular calorie counting and stuff like that. The only reason why intermittent fasting works is because you are basically just you're basically shortening the window of time that you have to eat. So naturally, you're going to be eating less because you have less time to eat. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, so I guess, let's say, so what do you really think? You kind of hit on earlier that 90% of it is diet, you know, and really the other 10% is fitness. What do you recommend though for like say people that maybe they don't like running, maybe they don't have gym equipment. What's a good thing for them to do? I mean, because I think some of the stuff you do on your Amazon channel when you're doing fitness, sometimes it seems like it's just like body weight sort of things.
Yeah. So you can do, if you don't have like a treadmill or anything like that, for cardio, you can just do like HIIT workouts. And honestly, you burn more calories in a short period of time. And because it's like an interval, like you're constantly revving up your heart rate, lowering it, revving it up, that actually has long-term benefits through the rest of, for a large portion of the day versus just doing like steady state cardio. And you could put together a simple routine of like 30 seconds of burpees, 30 seconds jumping jacks, resting for a minute, doing the same thing over again. I mean, you can do so many different things, mountain climbers and, push-ups or, anything like that. And yeah, there's a lot of body weight things that you can do as far as lifting weight as well too. So a lot of different.
I think a lot of people. You think a lot of people don't get started because they don't either they don't know what you're talking about here, or they don't realize, or they need some sort of like plan. Jim and I talk about this all the time, where it's like, I think now everyone wants that quick fix, right? They want that, they see that, you can lose 100 pounds in 6 months by, doing this little easy thing and and so people, they just want that quick fix and that thing. But, losing weight and changing your lifestyle to be healthy, it's not easy. And I think people will have to realize that, like, you have to have a mindset and be dedicated, and then it will happen for you, but it won't happen in a week. You're not going to lose. You're not going to be where you want to be in a week. You have to dedicate yourself. But like what you're saying is like, hey, you don't have to work out 2 hours a day. You really don't. You could do what you need to do in 30 minutes a day. And here's a plan for you to be able to do that in 30 minutes a day. And maybe, 3 months from now, that 30 minutes extends a little bit because you're having fun and you're more fit, and now you have this lifestyle, and now you can, be able to do that stuff. Do you think like a lot of people are hesitant because they don't get that quick fix and they just stop?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different like gimmicks out there too, like the waist trainers. Like people are like telling other people that they're going to help you lose weight, which is, there's nothing scientific about it. You know what I mean? Like you can't lose weight from a waist trainer. Just FYI, guys. You cannot. But I think people get overwhelmed, like you were saying. They don't know where to start, and so I always tell people, start with your diet first, because that is what is going to ultimately make or break you. And there's and the problem is a lot of people, we should, if you're trying to lose weight and you're struggling and you maybe hit a plateau, I tell everybody, go to Amazon, get a scale and weigh your food raw before you cook it, and make sure that you're accurately counting those calories, and, just count them for a couple of days, see where you're at. And a lot of the times people are either overestimating or underestimating the amount of food that they're eating. So just by weighing and starting with, making sure that you're getting the right portions is definitely going to be a good start. And it's going to make it's going to put a lot of things into perspective, I think.
One of the things that I remember growing up, even though he ended up going and playing for the wrong team in Dallas at one point, But Herschel Walker, who is an amazing athlete, did all that through naturally. Like, he did not lift weights. He just used his body weight. He did push-ups. He did sit-ups. And the guy was a monster as far as even in track, he was extremely fast. And so I think, people are looking for that quick fix, and there is no such thing. I mean, just like the get rich quick schemes, right? They don't exist either. It's fascinating. I don't know if that's something that's become more today. Everybody wants things to happen quickly, as opposed to, just it takes work,
Yeah. And I tell people too, like, another thing to look at too, like people that are getting impatient, you have to realize like you didn't get to that weight in a very short period of time. So it's going to take you that long period of time to get rid of it. Just like, yeah, of course, there are surgeries and stuff like that. But a lot of the times that fails, people they never get to where they want to be. And they just use that as like a short-term thing, and they're still stuck. They don't know how to eat right, none of that stuff. So it's like, all of these short-term things never really teach you anything, and they're never like long-lasting either. So I feel like you can appreciate something more the harder that you work. So if you worked really hard to get to where you are, you're going to work super hard to stay and to even improve. And you're going to appreciate it so much better. You're going to it's more, you respect yourself so much better if you put in the work.
Right. 100%.
And now, do you also, Christina, so, you talked about like, there's really, I guess, in a sense, like, so do you like try to eat 5 or 6 times a day? It's kind of like small meals. It's like that whole thing of it's fuel to keep you going. Cause that's something that I've seen a lot. It's like, smaller meals more frequently, as opposed to like, oh, I got to have a big breakfast, I got to have a lunch, and then I have a big dinner, and then in between, like you have a protein shake. What do you think of that?
So the great thing about science is that it really just boils. Yeah, of course, there are certain things that you can do with like timing and things like making sure that you're eating like at least 45 minutes, before your workout to have some good fuel. But the cool thing is that everybody's different. So some people might do really good with like 3 large meals, and some people might do really good with 5 to 6 mini meals. But there isn't any long-term scientific benefits, again, between the two. So just to give you an example, I personally prefer like big meals. And so my breakfast is really huge. And then I have maybe like 2 to 3 other meals throughout the day, with not including my, what I call my bedtime meal. So, everybody's different. And so some people do good with those small meals, but some people have huge appetites, and you're still going to see some really, really great results. You're not going to see any better results. It just, we're all different. And so I tell everybody that, all the people that I'm working with, all my clients and stuff like that, I make sure they know that, you don't have to eat those mini meals. You can eat large meals if that's what your body prefers.
So now, Christina, before we go, now you wear a fitness watch, right?
Yes.
But did you switch to the Apple Watch? You said,
yes.
I think. Yeah. So I have the Fitbit, and Chris, I think, has the Garmin. And but you used to use, was it the Garmin?
Yeah. So my very first one was like the Fitbit, but do you remember like the very first Fitbit that came out, that tiny one?
Yeah.
Literally it just like read calories and like, it's like really old school. So I had that, and then I had the Garmin Forerunner. I had the Garmin Forerunner, and I had then the Garmin, is it Phoenix or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had
the one I've got is the Phoenix 3.
S?
3
Oh,
upgrade.
Okay. Yeah. So I had I think it was the Phoenix S or something like that. And then when I got the iPhone, then I switched to that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great, Garmin is like awesome.
Yeah.
I would use it to like go on hikes and stuff like that. And it does like GPS and, all of that stuff. It's really awesome.
Yeah. Cause I think I like what the Apple Watch does. I just think for me, it's the battery. Cause I think if you are going out hiking and stuff or going away for a weekend, you'll need to charge it at some point. Unless they fix it.
Well, I do charge. Yeah. I charge mine every single night. I mean, I just have like one of those, the little magnetic chargers. I just charge it every night. So whenever I go somewhere, I just bring it with me. But yeah, I mean, it would definitely run out. Like unlike my Garmin, that lasted for like 14 days, I think. It was crazy.
Yeah. Christina, this has been awesome. And I love how you just vibed out your whole thing behind you and lent me and my ridiculous sense of humor. And Jim kept his shirt on the whole time. You ate a cookie and finally get the t-shirt that you deserved.
Yeah.
And but seriously, the great health and fitness information that you obviously are sharing right now for on our show, but continually on your shows is fantastic, and we're obviously huge fans of yours, and we hope and wish you the success you deserve going forward.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun. You guys have a lot of good content. So I always have fun with you guys every time I join you on your lives.
Well, and it won't be the last. And in fact, I think it's in 2 weeks, Christina's going to come off of Amazon over to the world of the other tubes. And she's going to be on the Tim and Jim show. And you can actually find that at timandjim.live. So I'm excited that Christina's going to be on the Tim and Jim show talking to all our folks. We haven't decided what she's going to talk about yet, but I know it'll be good, whatever it is.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. Thanks again, Christina. Thanks again for everyone that's joined us. Ryan, Utechbia, Johnny, Lucky Luciano. One day we will see you. And for everyone else, as always, don't fear the gear.
Thanks for listening to Dealcasters. Congratulations, you've taken another step forward in your content creation journey. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe or follow button here in your favorite podcast player so you can be reminded every time we drop an episode.
We love hearing from our listeners and viewers. And if you're wanting to watch our shows live on Amazon, feel free to follow Dealcasters Live as well at dealcasters.live. Follow us on Twitter or subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we also included added content that you cannot find anywhere else.
If you have questions about this episode or have something you want us to review, you can also email us at dealcasters@dealcasters.live. Thanks again for listening, and you know the deal. Don't fear the gear.